trauma, might not be labeled as trauma in the traditional sense.
Yeah, that's a great point, because we encountered this in Ukraine, in Kyiv, with a couple of examples of women whose husbands were taken POW by the Russians, and they know how badly their husbands are being treated in captivity in Russia. And so we knew that we had to do something to help these women face an ongoing current crisis that was not resolved. And so it gave me a lot of time to think deeply about how does EMDR work with ongoing trauma. And I think that, you know, if we look at the world, you know, working with somebody recently whose a sibling had taken his life, and this poor person was dealing with, you know, that issue of a sibling who had committed suicide. And I think that when we think about, you know, trauma, whether it's past or ongoing, I have to conclude it is always ongoing until it isn't. Grief is ongoing, right? Loss is ongoing.
Yeah,
you know, right? And, you know, that effects of sexual abuse, it is ongoing. And burnout is ongoing. We can't just stop the plane. And in many cases in life, what I concluded is you've got to sort of fix the airplane while the airplane is moving. And I think that's a very legitimate element of asking ourselves, what does it mean when people are deeply troubled by trauma in the past? Well, guess what? They're living it in the present. And in some cases, they're reliving it exactly as it was in the past, in the present. So let's not pretend that trauma is only in the past. And that's where I quibble with people who talk about PTSD and CPTSD. It's something that happened in the past, it stays with you. You know, I experienced sexual abuse a few times when I was a boy. That stayed with me all my life. That was CPTSD. It wasn't a single event. And so I quibble with that a bit. And I wonder if we need to think about what it means to say past versus ongoing. So I thank you for asking that.